Previously on Epic Mickey Rebrushed. Hit them with thinner to murder them, to thin them out. Hit them with paint to turn them gay, friendly. And also gay. As you can probably tell, this area is inspired by It's a Small World. Hello, friends. It's a small world. And it's a short life. There's some spatters here in Chinese clothing, which is cultural appropriation. So naturally I decided to befriend them instead of killing them. Culture is for sharing, not for dividing. Hello, I'll be with you in just a sec. No, I was gonna befriend you. So I was going through the Wastelands version of It's a Small World when I found... What is this? Huh? What is this? What is this? Why would this enter into somebody's mind and then make it all the way out into some... So, Small Pete said, Mickey Mouse, I hear you're Mr. Goody Two-Shoes. Well, here's your chance to prove it. Spent years getting along with gremlins, only had to knock them around on occasions. Then the one time I crashed my boat into their village, they seemed to think I'm some kind of villain. Not that I give two hoots what they think, but it was an accident and my ship's log will prove it. Those little monsters won't let me near the wreck to get it though. I'll bet they'd let you find that log from my ship so we can put this to rest and I can get back to work. See you soon, or sooner. Hopefully never, if you know what's good for you. I obviously had no intention of giving him his log. It's interesting that Steamboat Willie is the second projector cartoon they have you go through, not the first. I mean, obviously when you have these segments that are based off of old Mickey Mouse cartoons, it would have been really bizarre if they didn't have Steamboat Willie in here because it's the first. But the first one this game used was Mickey and the Beanstalk, which is a cartoon that not as many people know about. It was more of a goal to introduce people to the old classics than it was to tug at the nostalgia strings. So when you think about it that way, it makes a lot more sense for Steamboat Willie to come second, while Mickey and the Beanstalk was first. I got to this area where you can repaint the gremlin houses back into existence. I collected some of the stuff here, but they were saying there were more to do before we leave, and we might not be able to come back. So I wandered around searching for ways to progress a side mission. However, my anxiety informed me that if I tried to do every single thing with the lack of direction and my lack of pathfinding ability, this wandering around might never end. So I decided that we were done here. But not before I helped out this gremlin, and it was such a grueling battle to rescue him. I barely survived, took everything I had, but I couldn't just leave him there. So I left through the cartoon clock cleaners, and I don't think I've seen the actual cartoon clock cleaners. Either I haven't seen it, or it's just been so long that I forgot it. And there you have it, this game has successfully shown someone a cartoon that they were little aware of. We should attempt to get inside that Coliseum. Try to get closer and search for a way in. I encountered more blotlings. These guys were dressed up to be French or some kind of European, I don't know. And because I made friends with the cultural appropriators of the Chinese stuff, I also had to make friends with the cultural appropriators of the European stuff because that's how equality works. However, I was able to kill this here because that guy didn't have any cultural stuff on him. Also, one of the spatters that I befriended hit another spatter that I befriended for some reason. These games weren't that good at AI. AI. In fact, that was one of the big reasons why Epic Mickey 2 was so disappointing. The game was built for co-op, so the second player could play as Oswald, but if you don't have a second player, that AI for Oswald is completely incompetent. I remember one time he would run into this thinner waterfall, get knocked back from it, and then it gets up and runs back into the thinner waterfall, and then it gets knocked back and he does it again and again and again. If I didn't have a second controller to just play both characters myself, I'm not sure how I would have gotten through that game. You really couldn't count on Oswald to do some very important stuff unless you controlled him. Oh, not again. Let's get through this quick. Hey Mickey, so you left my ship's log with those grubby gremlins, eh? Well, here's a little taste of what happens to those who cross me. I regret nothing. I will always choose gremlins over this abomination, no matter what. The so-called consequences were barely an inconvenience. You're one crazy mouse, I'm out of here. Good riddance. Thankfully, Small Pete never shows up again. The projectors reuse the same cartoons a few times. That's why I'm going through Steamboat Willie again. But there is some variations to some of them.
Pete, when we made this cartoon, I didn't know who you were. You have plagued me my entire life, but being sent back here has given me a second chance. I'm going to kill you here, at the beginning of all things, so that I might prevent all the atrocities you've caused me.
Our rivalry made you stronger, Mouse. Who would you be without me?
That's a fair point. I'll go back to the present and kill you there.
So after that I got to the first boss fight, and it was a lot shorter than I was expecting. I just painted his arms, and then his arms brought me up to his face, and I painted his face, and that was the end of it. I was expecting to have to paint his arms a few times, maybe put a few coats onto his face, but no, they just once did the trick. As you can see, the reticule is acting differently in this section. Having this fixed camera angle didn't create any complications back when this first came out on the Wii, because to aim you just pointed at the screen, which was the same control scheme that it had been using this entire time. With the fixed camera angle sections of this game, they decided to have this big reticule that just locks in on anything within that circle. It feels a little unnecessary. Maybe they found that it was super awkward to do this stuff when they were playtesting it. I don't know. I would have liked the fight to be a bit longer, but at least the design is cool. I'm afraid I was out of my head for a bit there. Sorry. Such a friendly guy. Funny how the game gives you the option to just kill him. Like the normal enemies, you can use paint or thinner on the bosses. So yes, I did have the option to just kill that ball of sunshine, who apparently isn't evil but just having a bad day. As Gus explains, you get a upgrade to the capacity of your paint or thinner, depending on how you deal with the bosses. I thought about switching up how I deal with the bosses so I'd have a balance of paint and thinner, but balance is something they talk about in Star Wars, even though they completely subvert the meaning of the word balance. And Star Wars is heresy, and heretics get death. No balance. Only paint the bosses, all the time. No thinner upgrades, just paint upgrades. In a second playthrough, I did kill the clock tower with thinner. Gus was pretty sad about it, but he didn't really confront me or anything. I guess he's just resigned to serving Mickey no matter what that entails. Even if the horrors of what his master have done will keep him awake at night for years.
Is this a theme park?
Oswald copied it as best he could. He wanted us characters to be happy.
Characters?
Characters the world stopped watching and stopped loving. Rough drafts, extras, anyone who didn't work out right. Characters left on the drawing board. Most lived here in Oswald's recreation of that magical place. He set up shops, an ice cream parlor. It was home. Before.
Before what?
Before the thinner disaster. That's when the life went out of Wasteland. That's when the Blot arrived, and his flunkies. This is what's left of Oswald's creation, Mickey. Welcome to Mean Street. Mickey, Gus. Hello, Uncle Gus. Good to see you, Marcus. By any chance, have you seen Oswald lately? Last time I saw him, he was heading towards the projector screens at the end of the street. But those have been broken for a long time now. I can get those projectors to run again if you get me a pair of gears. Horace can probably be found in the detective agency.
If I cannot save it from your failure, Father, then let the galaxy burn.
No, not that, Horace. I know he has one. Pete used to brag about his gear. He's usually hanging around the city hall. I'll be waiting outside the Penny Arcade. Come see me when you have those gears. You just got a quest. There are lots of quests for someone like you on Wasteland. Yes, because as we're going to see, everyone else is incapable of doing anything.